As most of you already know, the new season of Young Justice is currently in production and set to be released in 2018. Now, a poster has been released with new character designs, along with 3 new characters for the 3rd season. These 3 new characters are 13, Arrowette and Spoiler, and this is a brief bio on who those characters are for those who are unfamiliar with them, and a brief recap for those who are already familiar with them. 13. Now, some reports online are saying this would be a completely new character, which is possible, but in the comics there is a character called Tracy 13, or Girl 13, so I'm going to fill you in on this character as it seems the most likely candidate for 13 to be. Her real name is actually Tracy 13, and she is a magic user much like Zatanna. She's not technically human, but is a Homo Magi, a subspecies of humans with innate magical powers. Incidentally, Zatanna's mother is actually supposed to be a Homo Magi, and that's why Zatanna is such a powerful magic user, as she has her father's magic in her and her mother's species magic as well. But anyway, 13 was actually banned from using her magic by her father, Dr. 13, as her mother died as a result of magical influence, and he wants to spare her from the same fate. But as we all know, a parent banning a child from doing something almost certainly means they will end up doing it. Now, unlike Zatanna, Tracy 13 doesn't use backwards words to cast magic spells. She instead has urban magic, which is a power that allows her to tap into a city's magical power, meaning that her powers change depending on what city she is in at the time. She can use this power in many ways, but typically she uses it to cast spells, teleport, create force fields, make blasts of fire, and transforms her pet iguana into a dragon. Later on, as her powers grow, she is able to use magic regardless of what city she is in, and she also uses the power of astral projection. In the Rebirth comics, Tracy is actually a lesbian in a relationship with Natasha Irons. Now, as the Young Justice writers have said before, there are already bi and gay characters in the show, but they have been limited in how they can show these characters in gay or bi situations due to the restrictions of children's television. Now, same-sex couples have kissed on other cartoon shows, but the Young Justice show is quite old now and was actually cancelled way back in 2013. But the show does now have more freedom to show gay and bisexual relationships in the 3rd season, as it will be aired on DC's new online streaming site, so it's possible that 13 may be a new lesbian character on the show. That being said, it is only in the Rebirth comics that 13 has been shown as a lesbian, as the previous versions of her character she was straight and in a relationship with Blue Beetle, so it depends on how the writers want to take her character. Tracy 13 has also appeared recently in the film Teen Titans Judas Contract.
Tracy? I was wondering who I could speak to about volunteering.
That would be me.
She works in the soup kitchen that Blue Beetle volunteers at, which may mean that she will be in the future Teen Titan movies as Tracy 13 and possibly as Blue Beetle's love interest. And in the picture for the new character designs of the 3rd season of Young Justice, Blue Beetle and 13 are standing next to each other, so this may be a subtle hint that the writers are giving us that something is going to happen between them in the 3rd season. It may not, but it's worth keeping an eye on.
How do I explain this? There's something we humans call sexual attraction.
Arrowette. Arrowette's real name is Sissy King Jones. Her mother was the first Arrowette and was a sidekick to Green Arrow, though had to retire due to developing carpal tunnel. She later got married and had Sissy. Sissy's father died later on from food poisoning, and her mother used the subsequent life insurance money from this to train her to be a superheroine. Later on, Max Mercury, who was Impulse's mentor, thinks that her mother is exploiting her and calls child services to get her taken away. Now, personally, I think this is a pretty hilarious way to stop a child superhero. I mean, every child superhero is exposed to such violence that child service should always step in. But anyway, years later she reappears as Arrowette and fights Harm, who of course featured in Season 1. Harm is a very strong fighter and pretty easily defeats her. Even still, she does continue with the superhero lifestyle and later joins the Young Justice team. But when her school therapist, who is the only adult that she is close to, is murdered, Arrowette loses it and nearly kills the man who murdered her therapist. She is only stopped from killing him by Superboy, who catches the arrow before it kills the man. After this, she decides to leave the superhero lifestyle behind and focuses on schoolwork and archery, later going on to win a gold medal in archery at the DC version of the Olympics. She does feature here and there in the comics after this, but not as a superhero, just as a medic helping out the team and as a friend to the other heroes. In Young Justice, she has actually already featured on the show in Season 1, Episode 23, Insecurity. We don't see her as Arrowette, but as a child, Her father is the one being attacked by Black Spider.
You were warned, Mr. Jones. No one likes a crusading reporter.
Please! Please! Not in front of my daughter!
And is saved by Artemis and Green Arrow. So on the show it looks like she's being inspired by the Archers to become a superhero herself with an archery theme. So it looks as though the Young Justice show may change a lot of her past. She has no superpowers except for fighting skills and extreme archery skills. Spoiler. Spoiler's real name is Stephanie Brown, and she is the daughter of the supercriminal Clue Master. She barely knew her father growing up, but when he came out of Arkham Asylum, supposedly reformed, and then returned to his criminal ways, Stephanie decided to don a superhero costume and set out to spoil her father's plans, hence why she was named Spoiler. She eventually helped bring Clue Master down with Robin and Batman, and developed a crush on Tim Drake. He didn't feel the same way and was already in a relationship with someone else, but he grew closer to Spoiler over time, and when he eventually broke up with his girlfriend, the two started dating. Now, at the end of Season 2, Tim Drake is actually dating Wonder Girl, but there is a time skip between Season 2 and Season 3, so it's possible Tim Drake is now dating Spoiler, or he may just grow closer to Spoiler over the course of Season 3, and if he and Wonder Girl break up, he may start dating Spoiler instead, with the TV series mirroring the comic book slightly. Or the Young Justice team may not have them date at all, but they were an item in the comic books, so it's quite possible it will happen again in the new season. Stephanie had a pretty rough run in the comic books. She was a daughter to a supervillain, got pregnant by an ex-boyfriend who'd left town, then had to give up the baby for adoption. She is then mentored by Batman and becomes, though only briefly, one of the few women to wear the Robin costume. Though after she disobeys Batman in the field, he fires her as Robin. She does not take this well and attempts to prove her worth to Batman by secretly stealing one of his plans for the underworld of Gotham and putting it into effect. What she doesn't know is that the plan hinges on Matches Malone being involved. Now, for those who don't know, Matches Malone is an identity that Batman uses from time to time to go undercover in the criminal community.
Everything depends on us playing our parts perfectly. From this moment on, I'm Matches Malone.
To get intel and to manipulate the underworld community as Batman needs it. But since Matches isn't involved, the plan goes wrong, and Stephanie ends up starting a gang war in Gotham. She is then captured by Black Mask and tortured for information on Batman. She does manage to escape, but then subsequently dies in hospital. Batman later discovers that the doctor taking care of her deliberately didn't give her medical treatment that could have saved her life. This was to send a message to the youths of Gotham not to become a vigilante. Like I said, she had it pretty rough. Although later on it is revealed that the doctor faked her death in hospital because Stephanie's secret identity had been revealed, and faking her death was the only way to stop people using her against Batman, just as Black Mask had. After her apparent death, she'd moved to Africa and had been volunteering with charity work, along with the doctor who helped her disappear. Later, when she returns from Gotham, she still runs as Spoiler, until she is given a Batgirl costume by Cassandra Cain, who is retiring from the Batgirl role. Though in the New 52 continuity, she is still Spoiler, having never been Batgirl. But her father was, and still is, Clue Master, and she has helped to bring him to justice in the past as Spoiler. Spoiler probably has the most history in the comics out of these three, but those are the most important parts of her character. Like Arrowette, she has no superpowers except for great fighting skills, and she has actually already appeared in the second season of Young Justice in the episode Before the Dawn, and is one of the humans abducted by Tigress for the Reach.
Why should we trust... Okay, never mind.
She isn't seen again in the second season, though she is rescued by the team from the Reach along with the other kidnapped humans. And that is the bios on the 3 new characters appearing in Young Justice Season 3, or at least the 3 new characters that have as yet been announced. I hope this helps you enjoy Season 3 more, and let us know in the comments which one of these 3 you're most looking forward to watching, and who else you want to appear in the 3rd season. And I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those of you who made this video possible by donating to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding site that is helping us to bring you more videos each week and to raise funds for adapting comic book stories into short animated films. If you're interested in donating or just want to find out more, there is a link in this video's description. And as always, thanks for watching and feel free to subscribe, share, like and comment.